Hi guys, and welcome to the Lone League Catch-Up. It's just myself this week. Obviously, Mozza was on holiday in Cuba. We were actually meant to have a guest on, but unfortunately, it sort of wasn't the ideal time for him. We usually record on a Sunday, and we're hoping to maybe have him on next week to discuss Spartans. I'm not going to announce it as just in case it falls through, as often these things do. And hopefully we'll have someone to discuss Edisport with as well during the Celtic game next weekend as well. Thanks to the clubs that got back to me regarding squad updates. It's much appreciated. It just helps promote the league. Anyone that's looking for information maybe on one of the teams or just the league in general, obviously massive help if all that information's up to date. Promotes the players as well, management, pretty much everyone really benefits if the information's up to date. So the idea behind not having an episode last week and just sort of doing a league and cup double this week was I kind of guessed that some of these games wouldn't go ahead simply because of the weather, and not all of them did. There was only going to be one Geosonic Lowland League fixture at the weekend, but it was postponed for the third time. It was Vale of Leaving versus Cumbernauld Colts, so no Vale of Leaving this week again, unfortunately. But we will look at Colts' previous fixture against Dalbeattie. They were away at Islecroft and they won 1-0. Fraser team dinks a ball to the back post. Stephen O'Neill chips across over the keeper and Craig Murray nods in to break the deadlock, and that was 4 minutes from time. Hard fought, 3 points for Colts, 3 points from Spartans in fifth with a game in hand, and a much better showing from Dalbeattie after the 5-2 smashing from Gretna. Dalbeattie did get back to winning ways at the weekend, though. They did beat Creetown 6-1 in the South Scotland Challenge Cup. They're still only 5 points away from Whitehill, so they're probably hoping to use that win as momentum in the Lowland League. Obviously, I think it's fair to say that Lowland League opposition's kind of a bit above a lot of the South of Scotland teams. I think that's fair to say. And Colts obviously still chasing, hoping mainly, I've said it before, but a dark horse for the top four, I think. So Edisport Academy versus Gala Ferradine Rovers. It was 2-1 to the Ferradine. Back-to-back wins, which hasn't been a thing for Gala too much this season. They have been lacking consistency. I think this is only the second time this season that they've had back-to-back wins. Edisport's last win in the league came against Gala, but the losing streak of 6 games does not come to an end. It started well for them. Hugo Caterine in 33 minutes put them up for the academy. Rhys Donaldson just before half-time made it 1-1, and it was Rory Payton on the 70th minute for Gala to seal the win. Paddy Martin and Rory Payton have extended their loans to the end of the season, so that's really good news for Gala, obviously. But Edisport, they're not doing too well. They're kind of dropping down now. 6 defeats on the trot, not ideal. But they did get a 3-0 win in the South of Scotland Challenge Cup against St Cuthberts with Matt Flynn, Mark Kelly and Maxim Olota getting the goals for them. So that, again, it could be a boost for them. Obviously, the rut going into the game against Kelty, obviously, which we'll get into. So there was a lot of action in the capital last weekend. The wind played a massive factor in all these games from what I've heard. We'll start off with Civil Service Strollers versus Whitehill Welfare. They won 3-1 at home. It was a convincing win for Civil as they move up to 4th in the league. Gary Jardin's men went into the game on the back of 2 draws against Spartans in BSC. It was a scrappy opening 15 minutes. Welfare took the lead when a slack back pass by Kyle Fee. We'll be kind on him. It was just a slack back pass. Was only cleared to the edge of the box, and Scott Wright guided the ball into the net for Whitehill. On his debut, and it was really, from what I heard, their only chance of the game. 10 minutes into the second half, David Churchill was left a mark in the box and prodded the ball into the net from close range, making it 1-1. Civil bagged their second from the penalty spot after Churchill was flattened by the keeper, and Jordan Hopkinson stepped up and slotted the ball home. Since I gave Kyle a bit of a pass, I'll give Jordan a bit of a pass on the penalty. It wasn't the prettiest penalty I've ever seen in my life, but I gave Kyle a pass, I'll give Jordan a pass on that one. With minutes to go, Civil sealed the win when Stephen Froud broke away and placed the ball beyond the keeper. Really convincing win for Civil Service, as I said. Whitehall Welfare, not out of it yet. Obviously, another tough one for them. I would expect them to sort of pushing to try and get points now. They're still not out of the relegation zone. 5 points adrift with 2 games played more than Dalbeattie. It's going to be difficult, but they're out of this sort of tough run of fixtures, I would say. And I would expect them to have a bit of more belief now, playing the teams sort of in amongst and around them. And Civil Service, obviously, Gary Jordan's done a fantastic job there. Boys seem to be all in good spirits. They all count Jordan, and it's Civil Service. Yeah, just brilliant. Certainly, I know Mozza says Gary Jordan. He thinks he could be in for a shout for manager, and I would tend to agree with him on that. I mean, it's been a good season so far for them. It'll be interesting to see if they can sort of creep into top 4. I think they're only 3 points away from third as well, so could be aiming even higher than that 4th spot. Again, obviously a wind's been the factor. It was Edinburgh Uni versus East Stirlingshire. Just before I get into this game, there was a bit of backlash, I would say. I think most people treated it as banter. I think in the last episode I mentioned that Andy Rogers' celebration I thought was a wee bit disrespectful. We did get some clarity on what had happened. Apparently a Kelty fan was giving him a wee bit of stick, calling him a diver, and it was strictly aimed at that fan. So it was just a bit of banter. Shire did obviously, diving into the weekend's action or whatever before the game, and I put Ross Allam's dive as a reaction. I think one Shire fan took it the wrong way. It was just a bit of banter. Certainly I wouldn't be apologising to Ross Allam as I was posting it if it was anything other than banter. I wasn't calling him a cheat or anything like that. I think we had a laugh with it, basically. No hard feelings against Shire. We're hoping to maybe speak to Dale and possibly Andy Rogers at some point. I don't know if it's going to be towards the end of the season or perhaps the start of next season, but we're seeing what we can do with that. Obviously, they have mentioned that they're interested in coming on and maybe speaking to us. We just have to arrange it, but it's probably more of a difficult one now because obviously I'm going to be at Kelty every weekend, and I know a lot of players are fancy coming on in that as well. So we'll see what we can do with that. We need to. A lot of people ask for more involvement with the players. Obviously, I get to speak to the Kelty guys every week, but whoever they're playing as well. So we'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. But getting into the game, East Stirlingshire 1-2-1 against Edinburgh University. The Shire came back and bagged all 3 points at East Peppermill with a winner in the last 5 minutes. Mark Waters, who's certainly making a name for himself at Edinburgh Uni, gave them the lead at half time. Shire got back into the game, but they had to do it with 10 men as Scott Gray on loan from Rangers was sent off in the second half. Yeah, they had a lot to do, obviously, with the sending off, but they seem to be countering. We've seen this a lot with Edinburgh Uni. They seem to control the game, have spells, but a free-flowing Shire counter-attack spearheaded by Ross Willocks, who's now returned to Peterhead, resulted in an equaliser with Ross Allam rounding off in a typical fashion from inside the 6-yard box to equalise. Free kick, Rogers in-swinger. The ball was kind of held up with the wind, and Andy Grant makes it 2-1 Shire, right at the death almost. A good one for Shire. Obviously they've not had the greatest of seasons, but certainly it's just another consolidation season for them. I think, personal opinion, I think they've got a really good team. Ross Allam, Andy Rogers, they've probably got a really good forward line. Edinburgh Uni have certainly impressed this season, but it's a really good win for Shire. I would expect them to come back in perhaps the later stages this season plus next season to become back a contender. And Edinburgh Uni certainly Dorian has done a fantastic job with them this season. The league gets more competitive, and the quality rises every year. So yeah, decent win for Shire at Peppermill. Spartans BSC, it was a smash and grab, but a massive victory for BSC against Spartans. Yeah, you've probably heard about the celebration, Stephen Swift. I think these celebrations are just called over-exuberance in Scottish football, but yeah, quite rightly, massive win for BSC. All the BSC boys were really happy, considering especially Ainsley Park. I think Ainsley Park's top place to go in one of the Lone League. I think it's a hard place to go, but Spartans, as I say, smash and grab. It was Tamor with the lob. Ball came forward from Winters. Green flicks it on. Or Outmus was the centre back and lobs Blair Carswell. What a win for BSC. What can you really say about them? I think if East Kilbride were to slip, I think BSC would be right there at the back of them, but I just don't see East Kilbride slipping too much. But at the end of the day, they're consolidating where they are in the league. I think that's them set in top 4 now, basically. And what a job Stephen Swift's doing. He's brought in a lot of loan signings. He's brought in the right type of player that he needs, obviously, and it's just great management from him. And what a result for BSC, especially away from home at Ainsley Park, as I mentioned. Spartans did have a game on Friday night. They were in the Football Nation Qualifying Cup quarter-final. They did play Tranent. It wasn't the best of starts for them. The match saw the lead change 3 times. A brace by Jack Smith and a late winner from Stephen McDonald saw Spartans edge out Tranent Juniors 3-2. What I heard was a bitterly cold Ainsley Park to progress to the semi-finals. Tranent were leading at half-time, and it took Spartans till the last 15 minutes to take advantage. Jamie Devlin, who had a short spell at Kelty, got both Tranent goals, I believe. So yeah, good win for Spartans. Certainly seemed like a very difficult game, especially when the cold. Fair play to the fans that turned up, and massive congratulations to Jamie Dishington on making his 150th appearance for Spartans. A fantastic effort from a 22-year-old. We've obviously talked about Jamie Dishington a lot on this podcast. I rate him quite highly. I think Mozza does as well. Just for Jamie Dishington, we'll do a wee bit of a shout out here. He's raising money for Health in Mind and running the Edinburgh Marathon on the 26th of May. You will get links on the Catch Up Twitter at official Catch Up, and on Spartans Twitter. I think they've retweeted it as well, so help the guy out, certainly. Good cause. And just another one, Chris Dodd of Kelty's doing something similar. He's running the Inverness half marathon on the 10th of March, all for a great local charity called Vision PK. Any help would be greatly appreciated. As I said, I've retweeted that on the official catch up, and I think Kelty Hearts have retweeted it as well. So yeah, just help the boys out. Obviously both for a great cause. If you've got a spare bit of money, definitely help these guys out. Fantastic from the boys, and hopefully the effort's well rewarded. Kelty Hearts versus University of Stirling. It was a 2-2 draw. Kieran Hall was brought down. Unique penalty. What did I say about this one? I don't think it was a penalty. I think Murray Carstairs was very unlucky. I thought he won the ball. I think it's the way he slid in kind of gave the referee something to think about. But either way, Kieran Hall converts it to make it 1-0 in 8 minutes. Blair Lyons causes chaos in the Kelty defence, and it's 2-0 in 12 minutes. Looked like an own goal. I did speak to the powers that be about this one, and I thought it was an own goal, I must admit, but they kind of gave it to Blair because I think the excuse was what's the fun in an own goal. So it's Blair's goal. Was it over the line? It's really hard to tell. I mean, we don't have VAR in this league, so yeah, we don't know. Either way, it was 2-0 Uni at half time. Kelty came into it. I think one thing I must admit, I was really impressed with Stirling Uni. It was the first time I've seen them this season after several attempts, and Blair Lyons, Kieran Hall, I was impressed by the whole outfit really. They kept Kelty at bay for the longest period. The pressing was fantastic. Blair Lyons, I don't want to say loads about him, but because obviously we've been called the Jamie Dishington fan cast in the past, but I might become the Blair Lyons fan cast now. What a fantastic footballer he was. It really impressed me. Kelty did get back into the game in the 74th minute. Husband's shot was saved by Walker, but it came back out to Stuart Cargill, who slots home. And Murray Carstairs got the leveller. I actually missed it. But yeah, he got the equaliser. They did have a chance to win it right at the death when Husband crossed the ball in low, but Brian Ritchie just couldn't connect. Overall, I think the draw was probably a fair result, given how the play went. As I say, I was really impressed with Stirling. They seemed to limit the space. Stuart Cargill was kind of coming back into almost an attacking mid area, and I think that draw was probably a fair result. But then again, if you look at probably both managers, would probably say that they could have won it, which I would also agree with. But in terms of fairness, I would say a draw was a fair result. Definitely a really good game, enjoyable. We've seen teams like that sort of sit back. I wouldn't even say Stirling really sat back as such. They did sit in, when they got the 2-0 lead, which kind of slowed the pace of the game down, but their pressing was fantastic. They were countering really well. All in all, just class outfit. Chris Geddes has done a fantastic job. We do have a few interviews. I did manage to speak to Murray Carstairs.
Right, I'm here with Murray Carstairs. How do you think the game went today, mate?
I think it's frustrating from their point of view. We didn't start well at all. The referee gave a penalty early doors. I don't think it was a penalty, but I suppose he's got to make a decision. We should still bounce back for going 1-down. Second goal sloppy, and I guess it's uphill for there.
Yep. In terms of possession, obviously, I would say sort of Kelty dominated, but it looked like early on Stirling were sort of hitting on the counter. But coming into the second half, obviously Kelty, you took your chances and stuff. Do you think overall the draw was a fair result, or?
It's a hard one. I think we had to make changes at half time because it wasn't working. We only played well. 45 minutes of pretty poor standards for ourselves all over. I think the gaffer had a decision to make at half time, and I think it helped us because we came back to 2-2. But I think we had so many chances that we could have flipped the game round and got the 3 points. But I think for the outside, you'd probably see our points.
Yep. In terms of next week's, how does it change? Obviously, a cup game against Camelon coming to New Central Park.
Nothing really changes for us. I just think the boys need to put in a good week's training Tuesday, Thursday, work as hard as ever and try and put it right on Saturday.
David Chandler got a word with Chris Geddes as well on his thoughts.
Chris, I think before today's game, a point you'd bit my hand off for that, wouldn't you? How do you feel now?
A bit disappointed, but point away to a team in the top four's a great result for our guys playing against the calibre of players in the Kelty team. So definitely take the point and move on to some big games in the next 3 weeks.
Talk us through the two Uni goals. First one was a penalty.
It was a ball down the channel. Kieran Hall obviously playing against two big defenders, Murray Carstairs and Errol Douglas all day, and I think Kieran bullied them. The amount of times he got his body in front of them and stuff. It's debatable. He came from the side, so the ref's saying he came through him, then took the ball. 50% of people will say he took the ball, some will say it's a pen, and then obviously Kieran scores it. And then the second, Craig Brown knocks it out wide to Blair, bit of dribbling, and he puts it past their keeper for 2-0. So delighted 12 minutes in to be 2-0 up, but then we knew it was going to be a tough game after that.
After that, in the first half, Kelty had a lot of the possession, but they didn't really create much in the way of threat, did they? And the home crowd were noticeably quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. They were noisier at Fourth Bank. They had a lot of possession, don't get me wrong, a lot of possession, but they didn't really create a lot in the first half especially, and we were obviously keeping some really nice shape. The shifting between the players was really good. To get in at half time 2-0 was really good for us.
And then second half, I felt for the goalkeeper Kev, because he made a couple of fantastic saves and yet he conceded the two goals.
Yeah, the first one they brought Husband on at half time, and he's a talent. He's a talent, probably too good for this league. He strikes a great shot from the edge of the box, and Kev makes a good save, and then we're sloppy in terms of the rebound, and the boy puts it away. And then the second one, Kev made another really good save, and the goal kind of came from, I'm taking the blame for the goal because we usually have someone on the back post, and I took the back post off in game in the first half, and if we had our back post, the back post would have cleared the ball instead of Carstairs bending it in the corner. So I'm taking the blame for that one. And then obviously it was a bit of charge of the light brigade from them at the end, and we had a couple of opportunities on the counter to catch them, but again, they didn't really create loads after that. It was a lot of possession, and they're a very direct team, and we dealt with it pretty well today, I thought. To come to a team in the top four and get a point is excellent, and deservedly so. It wasn't like we were hanging on in the first half or the second half. Just near the end we were a wee bit, but I thought our guys were excellent today, and possession doesn't win you matches, do you know what I mean? It's chances at goal, and ultimately we took ours today and they didn't take theirs near the end, so it's a point gain for us.
Cook Athletic versus University of Stirling game was postponed for the Football Nations Qualifying Cup. They did play a week game in the University League, a 2-0 victory. It was Mailer and Blair Lions getting the goals for them against Durham. Obviously we know that Stirling have the uni competitions to deal with as well, so good performance from the boys. And I did manage to speak to David Chandler, who you guys obviously have heard on the podcast before, speaking to the likes of Chris Geddes, and he offers a lot of the footage for Stirling Uni also, just about how Stirling Uni's season's going, and we'll have a listen to it.
I'm here with David Chandler. Obviously you've contributed to the podcast, obviously I've mentioned your name, you usually do the highlights, and sometimes you've been having a chat with the Stirling Uni boys. The interesting thing about you, David, you come to games from England.
Yes, we do. Well, my wife and myself, we live in Morecambe in Lancashire, so we come up to Stirling regular and also away games, try and come and watch as many games as we can. So yeah, we clocked up a few miles this season. Enjoying the Lowland League though, we love it, we really enjoy it.
In terms of Stirling Uni, obviously, what did you make of the game today? It was a bit of a frantic one at the start, and
it was
towards the end.
It was, and I thought Uni probably after the first 5 minutes or so settled into the game and created more chances, and I think 2-0. We actually deserved to be in front.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
After that, really sort of stopped playing a little bit, and Kelty had a lot of possession, but again didn't really create that much the rest of the first half. But then second half, it was really sort of backs to the wall. And I thought if we can hang on here at 2-0, then we got a good result. But as soon as the first Kelty goal went in, I thought it's like we went deeper and deeper, and then obviously the equaliser. But then we could have nicked it. We could have nicked a chance at the end there. So yeah, before the game, I think everybody would have said a draw was a fantastic result coming in. It's one of those where it feels like you've dropped points, but yeah, it was an entertaining game.
In terms of just the season overall, obviously Stirling Uni, I wouldn't say they're struggling too much in the league, but they're probably not as high as they would like to be. Do you think the one thing me and Mozza have always often talked about is it's 1 point Stirling Uni were the only Lowland League team in all of the cup competitions. Do you think that's maybe affected their league standing this season? Or?
I don't know. I mean, when I've talked to Chris, the manager, he said, he didn't want to be thought of as a cup team, but they have done very well in the cups this season, and I don't know whether that has distracted from the Lowland League, but it's a weird one because I look at the league table and I think, how are we as low as we are? Because there's so many games like today. As a good example where we could have got more from the game, perhaps should have got more from the game, and yet have ended up, coming away with just a point. And I think that's been the story of the season. A lot of it is perhaps just down to not being clinical enough in front of goal, not perhaps, creating enough chances. Because you've got a lot of very good players in the side as you've seen today.
Blair Lions was a standout for me today.
And there's a lot of threat going forward, but it's just not translated into goals, and I don't have an answer to that. But that's been the frustrating thing about the season. I think you look at the league table and you think really, and it's not that big a gap to get up into the top half of the table. So I mean, hopefully we'll get a bit of a run together and can pick up a few places in the league. But it's the games are enjoyable, but they're often frustrating. That's what I found. Yeah,
definitely. Anyway, I appreciate finally meeting you, David. So,
it's been good to meet you as well, Chris. Yeah,
I was really impressed with Uni today. I thought they were fantastic, and not to play favourites, but they were one of the teams I was really looking forward to seeing, and I'm glad I did. There are a lot of young guys out there that look really good footballers. Kieran Hall, Blair Lyons, as I mentioned, obviously fantastic.
So obviously I want to thank David Chandler. It was nice meeting him, and Christine and Chris Geddes as well. I managed to introduce myself to him. As I say, very impressed with Stirling Uni's outfit. I kind of mentioned it obviously, but I'm just surprised at their league position. It just shows you the quality of the Lowland League, that they're kind of down in the league a wee bit, and they've got quality players and they play really good football. It's just the quality and the competitiveness of this league is just getting better and better, and I think Stirling Uni are almost an example of that, because how good and how impressed I was with them. So getting into the Kelty Hearts Camelin game, I'm not going to say too much about this. Chris Dodd and Murray Carstairs got the goals for a 2-0 win for Kelty. Chris Dodd's goal was fantastic. One of the reasons I kind of postponed this podcast was because we didn't know what the outcome would be of this. As you guys probably know if you follow the Lowland League, Kelty fielded an ineligible player, unfortunately. Chris Dodd, obviously, who'd played in previous rounds for Genefield Swifts. So I wasn't going to mention this, but since Kelty released the statement and now we've got the outcome, Camelin are back into the competition. It's happened to them twice this season, Camelin. No fault of their own, obviously, but it's just a bit of a curious one. I actually thought it was a wind up, to be honest. After the game, I had heard. I cover the league and just didn't think anything of it, doing the lineup, and it's one of those ones where it's just a genuine mistake. I don't have to make excuses for the club secretary at Kelty, but I think it was just a genuine mistake. We've seen it happen not only at this level, but obviously higher up, in the biggest competitions in football, the Champions League and stuff. So gutted for the Kelty boys. Congratulations to Camelin. We obviously still have two Lowland League teams in the form of Spartans and Stirling Uni still in the competition. So hopefully one of them can get to the final of the Football Nations Qualifying Cup. As I say, I saw Camelin earlier in the season actually, and I was really impressed by their outfit. I could have went a different way, to be honest. The game, Kelty have this sort of, I've noticed that over the last few games, they seem to, first opening few minutes, they all full of energy, sort of going for a goal. It doesn't sort of pan out, and they've kind of sort of died down a wee bit, and it's not really until the second half they get going. It's becoming a bit of a thing really, but it's gone obviously to play a game, and then it's sort of rendered useless because of essentially an admin error. But keep their heads up, focus on the league, try and get as far up in Kelty's first season as possible. I think that's the plan now that they're no longer competing in the Football Nation Qualifying Cup. So getting into our final few fixtures, it was East Kilbride against Gretna, and they won 5-0. Chris Humphreys on target effort is deflected in by a Gretna defender to make it 1-0. Cammy Russell diving header on his debut, and a Craig Malcolm hat-trick. It's what we come to expect from East Kilbride. No shame for Gretna going to K Park and getting beat 5-0. Obviously it's not ideal, but they just seem to be non-stop at the moment in terms of the Lowland League. They look like they're really wanting that title, and obviously promotion to League 2 or whatever, and absolutely amazing from East Kilbride. It's what we come to expect, and especially at K Park. They did have a Scottish Cup game against Inverness Caledonian Thistle away from home at the Caledonian Stadium. They did get beat 4-0. Again, kind of similar to what they've done to Gretna, but absolutely no shame in going up to Cali, a tough championship side, and getting beat 4-0. The boys had a bit of banter. Sean Winter and Barry Russell, roommates for life, I think I saw. So that's what Scottish Cup games are all about. I think Cali in the previous round had thrashed Edinburgh City by more goals, so absolutely no shame. It's a day out for the boys. Ideally you would love a cup upset, but it doesn't always happen, and it is what it is. Thistle, congratulations. And on that note, obviously, Auchinleck Talbot beat Ayr 1-0. I know there's a bit of a east-west thing. Myself and Mozza have discussed it before, but we would have to congratulate them on that fantastic win. It's not quite a big Ayr 2-pack, but yeah, well done, boys. Great for non-league. We would have liked East Kilbride to maybe do the same against Cali, but it wasn't to be. So hopefully you've not been confused by all them fixtures. Hopefully it's been clear and cut, but we've got through them all. And hopefully you've not been bored of listening to my voice for however long it's been. We'll get into this weekend's fixtures. Obviously some of them are subject to the weather. Hopefully they all go ahead, but the weather as it stands, I doubt all of them will be on. Hopefully though, they will be. We'll start with Vale of Leven versus Civil Service Strollers. To be honest, I'm not really going to make a massive prediction on this because it's probably one of them games that are not going to go ahead just from past experience and stuff like that. But I don't know, it was a difficult one. Vale of Leven obviously got that really good result against Edisport. Civil Service obviously chasing top four. Anyone's guess of what's going to happen. Whitehill Welfare versus Cumbernauld Colts. Probably another one that's we'll see how it goes really. Whitehill Welfare, they need to start getting results. Cumbernauld Colts, still not in the hunt for top four. Yeah, it's another one. It's hard to decide. Gallifeyre Rovers versus East Kilbride. I'd like to say Gala for a third one, but East Kilbride have just been non-stop. They've been beaten. I think they put them at the Scottish Cup at K Park late in the day. So Gala are certainly more than capable of giving them a game. But East Kilbride, I would expect for that train no to stop basically. Gretna 2008 versus East Stirlingshire. Who knows? Who knows? We've seen Gretna thrash teams. We've seen Shire beat teams they weren't expecting to beat and stuff like that. So it's like most of these fixtures, I don't know. One, I don't know if they're going to head, and two, I don't really want to put my neck out in the line of what's going to happen. My game of the week is Celtic Hearts versus Edisport. Obviously, it's going to be the first time this season I'm going to see Edisport. Both teams really need a win. Edisport obviously on a 6-game losing streak. They need to get out of that streak as quick as possible. But Celtic need a win there to just make sure they don't drop out the top four now. I think it's more of a concern about that than possibly having a chance at the title. It's just top four's the aim now. I think make sure they don't drop out. I think they've only won one game in the last 5, predominantly draws, I think, and they need to start picking up wins again. Obviously, Edisport more than capable. They've just not been on the best of runs lately. Spartans versus Edinburgh Uni. Spartans, I would probably go with Spartans, but Edinburgh Uni more than capable of getting a result. Ainsley Park, I always sort of tend to favour Spartans, especially at home. University of Stirling versus Dalbeattie Star. Anyone's guess really, but I've been so impressed with University of Stirling. In the last game I saw them, I would probably just favour them over Dalbeattie, just because they're at Fourth Bank. So that pretty much ends the episode, guys. We obviously want to thank all the clubs, the fans, the players, the manager, everyone that really makes this pod and so enjoyable to do. Hopefully my voice hasn't been too annoying for the last 20 minutes or whatever it's been. Who does a one-man podcast? Well, I've had to do it just to report the Lowland League action, so hopefully these guys appreciate it, hopefully you've enjoyed it. I just want to thank everyone that's listened to this. Talking continuously for half an hour or whatever it's been, not the best thing to do, but hopefully you've enjoyed listening to it. Hopefully it's been informative, and hopefully it's not been too confusing with the League and Cup games. And we'll be back to normal next week with Mozza, and hopefully a guest to speak about Spartans and some feedback for Edisport as well, which would be great. Want to thank Michael Park and George Fraser, all the fans, all the clubs and players and managers for their support. We really do appreciate it. It's your guys' podcast as much as it's Ming and Mozza's. And we'll see you next week.